Throughout its run, Evil built a fiercely loyal following, captivating audiences with its daring exploration of faith, science, and the ever-blurring lines between good and evil. With clever writing, an exceptional cast, and an increasingly expansive mythology, Evil didn't just entertain, it questioned viewers' perception of reality and morality. This made Evil's cancellation after Season 4 particularly disappointing. And it was made worse by the fact that viewers were robbed of a connection to another great drama with 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. This wasn't merely the loss of another show, it was the abrupt ending of a narrative thread that had been meticulously building toward something bigger, something that reached beyond the bounds of the series itself and arguably into other successful series. Evil's final arcs pointed toward a larger thematic and character-driven connection that could have reshaped how audiences understood the show's entire universe. Evil Season 5 would have satirized The Good Wife and The Good Fight with returning actors. The crossover potential was rich. Father Giovanni, Dennis O'Hare, and Father Acosta, Mike Colter, look at each other in a church in Evil series finale. Considering that Evil, The Good Wife, and The Good Fight all share the same creators, Robert and Michelle King, a crossover would have made sense. It's worth mentioning that both The Good Wife and The Good Fight boast impressive Rotten Tomatoes scores of 93% and 95%, respectively. Tie in some returning actors and ideas, and Evil Season 5 was ripe with crossover potential. And Evil's creators planned to lean into that, admitting they were going to do more with court and the court system and how demonic it can be. They also wanted to satirize their other shows. A fifth season of Evil could have explored legal institutions, media influence, and moral dilemmas, all central themes in The Good Wife and The Good Fight. Using these actors and creatives, a fifth season could have examined the intersectionality of these ideas, along with the supernatural and demonic presences in Evil. A fictional law firm, possibly called Reddick and Bouchard LLP, could even have emerged as a battleground between the church, state, and hellish interests, tying Evil into the other two shows. Evil could even have mocked the performative justice of courtrooms by introducing a legal case involving spiritual liability, where someone sues a priest for literal demonic possession damage. A crossover opened the door to so many possibilities, making it even more disappointing that Evil wasn't renewed for Season 5. Why Evil Season 5's legal drama would have been perfect for continuing the show. It would expand themes touched upon in Season 4. The assessors holding their case files before burning them in Evil's series finale. Evil Season 5's planned legal drama arc would have been a perfect evolution for the series, blending its core themes of faith and morality with the high-stakes intensity of courtroom battles. As the show's supernatural investigations delved deeper into questions of good versus evil, a legal framework would have given these conflicts real-world consequences, elevating the drama while grounding it in institutional reality. A legal setting could have explored how the justice system interpreted evil, which would question whether crimes influenced by possession or spiritual manipulation could be defended or prosecuted. Such cases would have tested the limits of belief and responsibility in powerful new ways. Evil always operated at the intersection of faith, science, and morality, but beneath the demons and exorcisms, the show remained sharply critical of the institutions we trust. As the show evolved, it increasingly focused on systemic rot, corrupt clergy, exploitative tech, and the commodification of belief. A Season 5 pivot towards being a legal drama wouldn't just be a genre twist, it would be a natural, even necessary, progression of the series' core themes. What more of the courtroom story would have meant for Evil's characters in Season 5? The courtroom plan presented limitless possibilities. Mike Colter as David, Kotia Herbers as Kristen, and Asif Manvi as Ben in Evil. The courtroom is the perfect battleground for morality, and that presented endless possibilities for Evil's cast of characters. In Evil, spiritual questions are often answered through philosophical debates. The courtroom, with its reliance on logic, rhetoric, and moral ambiguity, was a perfect new stage for those questions to be put on trial, literally. A legal setting would allow the show to put faith, guilt, redemption, and institutional corruption under the microscope in a way that deepens its examination of evil in the real world. Creators Robert and Michelle King have always been interested in exploring how institutions fail individual people. Since Evil Season 4 leaned heavily into tech's role in spreading evil, as with Leland's VR demon baby cult, then a legal-themed Season 5 could have questioned how the law upholds or enables it under the guise of order. By expanding into legal drama, Evil would have tackled tech companies legally shielding algorithms that spread radicalization, and medical malpractice tied to spiritual experiences, and even something like custody battles where one parent believes the child is possessed. The absurdity of these legal gray areas is ripe for satire, horror, and philosophical weight, all topics in which Evil excels. Which actors from The Good Wife and The Good Fight would be perfect for Evil? One actor is in both shows already. The crossover potential for Evil Season 5 was rich. If it had been greenlit, prolific actor Christine Baranski as Diane Lockhart and Cush Jumbo as Luca Quinn could have guest-starred as hyperlogical lawyers trying to rationalize a clearly supernatural case. Baranski's Diane would have been the perfect choice to give a fiery monologue advocating for constitutional rights for demons. Such a cameo would have been a great way to tie the King's shows together. Additionally, Mike Colter, who played David Acosta in Evil, also portrayed Lamond Bishop in The Good Wife. This adds potential for interactions between his two characters that could be compelling to explore. Acosta could even face off against his former self in a dream or hallucination. It's fun to imagine Acosta confronting Bishop in a surreal exorcism, blurring identity and morality in an unforgettable sequence. Such ideas could have made for a compelling 5th season and larger crossover between the three shows. Could Evil Season 5 still happen? There's always a chance. Ben, Kristen, and David hold each other in front of the bonfire in Evil series finale. The end of Evil Season 4 left viewers with more questions than answers, so a 5th season seemed inevitable. But the show was cancelled by Paramount+. Because of this, the creators had to condense multiple storylines into an extended 4th season. Robert King told Screen Rant that Evil found an audience a little too late. In other words, by the time the show found a substantial audience, a 5th season had already been scrapped. But the show's cancellation caused public outcry, even from some of Evil's stars. That's a great sign.